Alright, so we're to the point where we should probably start doing the lift kit on this thing because we're putting suspension back together, okay? And in the process of us pulling the whole lift kit out, which we got 7 inches, which is ridiculous. Let's see, we gotta just go down the instructions and stuff, you know, like park the vehicle on a flat surface. I think we're good. Raise the hood. We did a whole hood delete. Disconnect battery, yeah. We don't have anything like that to worry about. It says jack up front in the vehicle, put jack stands under the frame rails and lower under the jack stands, remove tires, wheels, remove the 6 bolts holding the factory skid plates. Hey, you can just put those on.
No, there's 4.
So we got a little ahead of ourselves. Let me set you up. Alright, so we're reusing the same upper and lower control arms in this lift kit. So you could technically put the uppers in, because I don't think they move. Because you're lifting it, you're not.
I'm gonna get them in for you so you can get the bolts in for the job.
Right. Yeah, because you can't do the bolts of the shock. Well, what's that bracket? Okay. So, if you look, which kit did you get? Kit content? The Magna Ride kit content? Is that the one you got? Or did you get the regular kit content?
Sure, just a rough country 7-inch knuckle kit.
Okay. Well, I'm thinking it's going to be this one right here because it's got new knuckles, and then it's probably like a skid plate. It looks like the lower, where the lower control arms go on. But there's actually spacers for the CV axles. And are those the U-bolts for the back? Oh, and those are the blocks for the back, it looks like. So we'll get it all unpacked here on the ground here so we can see what we got. And then we'll just start going through the list. It's not, we'll try to show you as much as possible, but we'll see how well that works. All right, we got everything unpacked. I'll kind of go through it and kind of show you what's going on here. I know what some of this is, but we already put the front diff back in, and it looks like it's actually got a drop. So there's a bracket that goes where they bolt in, it drops it down like 3 or 4 inches. That's what, let's see here. These things are, it looks like this guy and that guy. Those are probably for the front diff. We actually, apparently he was telling me, because he ordered the kit, you got to get wheel spacers for the rear to bring the rear tires out, because when you do the front, it's got new knuckles, but you keep the lower control arm and the upper control arm. So what it does is it pushes it outward. So that means you got to get spacers for the rear so they look normal. Instead of doing blocks for the front, he opted out for the full control arm, or the full quick strut, the full lifted one. The cross members here, let's see, yeah, this guy, and I think the front one probably stays, but I think this guy's actually got to come out. And then these go in, okay? So that would give you your drop, so your lower control arm was here, now it's going to be down here. So, and then these are obviously a lot taller, because here's stock, okay? And there's the aftermarket, which we're going to take the ball wheel bearings, I can't even talk today, wheel bearings out, put them in those. You got rear shocks, rear U-bolts, and then those right there are actually the blocks for the rear. I'm not sure what those are. Those little blocks?
I have no idea.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. It's up there somewhere. But it did come with new tie rod ends, which yours are okay. But they don't even look the same. Like, these look super short, the threaded part, and that threaded part's way longer. And then I believe this might be for the diff. I'm not sure. Got some stab links or sway bar links, or what you noodle links?
Call them noodles.
Noodles. So those, we've heard 1,000 names. Those go on the front stab links, sway bar, or whatever. Then we got our spacers for our CV axles. So, and then I'm not sure what the little U-bolts are for. Probably something. I'm not sure. But we got a bunch of stuff, bunch of hardware. So we'll try to kind of go through it step by step and figure it out and install it on the vehicle as we do it. So yeah. I guess stay tuned. This one's we'll probably do some time lapse and then jump into actually doing it. But I don't know. We'll see how it works. We kind of have to figure out what we're doing because we've never done this before. I mean, we obviously have very easy access to everything, but it's a bunch of steps. So I'm just going to read through it and we'll go from there. So.
So we are finished with the front lift. I was not here for that. I had to go home, but Graham and Blake took care of it. And if you're in the market for this, I think it's pretty straightforward. The directions are very, very thorough.
Very thorough.
Just a quick glimpse. If you can even see that, I mean, pictures are detailed, and the directions are step by step. And this is a rough country lift, so I think for anybody wanting to do this on their Silverado, what is this? Like 15 to 18?
Probably. Yeah, I'm not sure. This is a 17, so I'm not. It's probably going to be the same if the frame and the suspension hasn't changed on them. So I don't know where the year change is.
But there are some cutting involved with doing these lift kits.
Yeah.
It's such big because you have to pull this up for your drive line.
You drop it.
I'm just kidding. You got
yeah.
You got to drop it.
So basically, when he left and then we started cutting, so like this cross member right here originally sits about right there, and that's the original one, and we cut that.
This is the original mounting.
Off both sides. It goes right up here.
Oh yeah.
So it goes right there, and we had to cut both of those off, and then
so you can see.
Yeah.
That's set that high.
Yeah.
Cut that off.
And then these right here we had to put in because the front diff actually bolts up here, so it dropped what 4 or 5 inches.
Yeah.
And then that is actually the front ear off
right
of.
there.
So if you're not really interested in cutting your crap, comfortable with it, I definitely have someone do it for you. It wasn't really that hard. It gives you extremely good measurements. Like it was what, 3 inches and 1/3 or something. Like it's like a legitimate 3/8. So it's 3 3/8 is what you have to move in, I'm pretty sure. But your directions might be different depending on the model and stuff. But he did go with the whole length, the longer quick struts. It does give you new tie rod ends because I think when it moves, you have to shorten it a little bit. The only thing we do recommend is they have you reuse the brake line and put this extension on, and every review that he could find that wasn't on rough country recommended doing the longer brake lines. So if you buy the kit, just spend the extra money, get the longer brake lines, so the brake hoses, because
originally it's supposed to go right here.
Yeah, originally it's supposed to be all the way up here.
Yeah.
And then this bracket drops it, and it does the same in the rear.
You could probably go to AutoZone and do it yourself. If you didn't want to buy the pre-made stuff, you can spend less money and probably do it yourself. But if you're working on these trucks, brake lines, anything, it sucks.
Yeah, I hate brake lines. Now, it did give you a new sab link, sway bar link, and it does have, if you look right there, it does have a drop for the sway bar links. And then here's the lower cross member. There is a skid plate that goes there. We haven't put it on yet. Yeah, and then I really like the look of that. It's got the RC for the rough country in it, and it just bolts right in the original mounts, the original spots right there. And then they did add, I don't know if I can get a video of this, but they did add another support on your front diff. It's right here, and then it bolts onto the front member right there. So I'll see if I can, and it gives you a whole nother mount because you lost one over here. But now we're going to be working on the rear, and we'll probably put you on time lapse for that. There was just a lot going on the directions, and it was just a lot easier to concentrate on those and then get it put on right, and then we'll review it. So if you're just looking to install one, the directions are killer. They did a really good job. It's obviously easier on a lift, and obviously easier when you don't have an engine or a whole truck on it and it's just a bare frame, but they do it on a lift in the pictures. It's great. So we'll put you on time lapse. We'll
the rear.
Yeah, the rear.
Spacers for the rear, right?
There's the skid plate. There's the spacers right there.
Well, only for the rear too.
Well, yeah, and the rear, did they recommend it on the thing, or did you read that on a review about the spacers?
The knuckle kit brings the front out 1 3/4 inches.
Okay, so
not the rear.
The knuckle widens it. So then he had to get spacers for the rear, so that way it fits the same. But they got the U-bolts, that bracket right. Let's see if I can point the right there is for your brake lines to drop them down. Yeah, and so it's pretty simple. We'll go over it once we get it on, but stay tuned. Keep watching. tripped on it like 3 times already.
I'm laying down like.
Yeah. Alright guys, so this is going to be basically the finish of the rough country lift kit. We're going to kind of talk about what we did. I kind of went over the front end. You can kind of see where we actually had to cut right here and cut right there. We do need, the brake lines are way too short. They have these brackets right there that are supposed to like, all you're seeing is light in the background. They have brackets right there that's supposed to extend it, and it sucks. So he's actually gonna order, you're gonna order the longer ones, aren't you? Yeah, he's gonna order the length and the longer brake lines. And then the other issue is, if you look right there where the, get that out of the way, where the the upper control arm ball joint, you gotta shave the front end of that, like the front nub, because when you turn, can you turn the wheel?
But they did say in the directions that you
No, I can't. There we go. See how it butts right up into that tire. So it does say in the directions to shave it. So don't forget to do that. So if you're not afraid to cut and shave, this ain't a bad lift. It actually looks pretty good. It's a legitimate lift. We ended up getting these put in. Got your shocks. Well, this is gonna be on time lapse, but these they say to put in first, but we found it easier to line them up and drop it down on, but we obviously didn't have a cab on at the time, so it's a totally different story. Or a drive shaft, so this wanted to fall. But yeah, these actually had enough length right here with that bracket they give you, so it's not terrible. And then there's also a bracket over here, right there. So it's a pretty decent lift. I mean, it's good quality parts. The welds look really good. The manufacturing is really good. There's no crazy burrs on it. I mean, it's got some really good clean stitch welds. And then there is that skid plate we need to put on, but we're kind of waiting. Oh yeah, here's that diff mount. You can see it a lot better right there. So it bolts right in, and that bolts right into the front member, and that's pretty good. Obviously we got fluids leaking because we had to pull the motor and nothing's attached still. So, but they do recommend painting over these, so we'll probably hit that with some paint. But he doesn't have any right now, so we'll just hit it later. And you got your sway bar drops. You got your front diff drops.